Welcome to the penalty box.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Penalty Box podcast. I am so excited for you to be here today. We are growing so rapidly, and I just want to start off really quick by saying thank you. Thank you for 16.5K on Instagram and then over 30,000 listeners on Spotify in the past month, which is crazy. I'm not even joking. When I started this podcast, it was genuinely just for girls around my college, girls around my area, just for us to kind of chat about hockey, learn about hockey, stuff like that. I never expected there to be more than 10 listens. I know that's probably so dramatic, but I really didn't. I didn't think anybody cared. I didn't really know there was such a strong community. So the fact that we are finding all of you guys and you're not only following us and listening to the podcast, but engaging with our content, it's incredible. It's really shocking. And I have those moments sometimes where I'm like, oh my God, we were at 3,000 followers 2 months ago on Instagram. We had 3,000 is great if you have 3,000, but we had almost no comments, no likes. Nobody really cared. It was just me making content. And now we've grown and we are offering college credit for internships. It's crazy. And I'm so thankful. So thank you so much. We're going to hop into our playoff updates. Oh, wait, before we do, I want to mention, I am so sorry for the audio quality in today's episode. I actually have filmed this twice. The first time I filmed it, I was pretty cranky because I lost my mic. And you're probably like, Mia, how'd you lose your mic? I have a whole podcasting setup, but I lost the main piece. And I have 2 other mics, but I just don't know how to use them. So it's been hectic, and I literally am just recording off my phone. I have no other choice. I have to get the episode out. No mic is going to be delivered in time for me to record, edit, upload. So I'm sorry. I'm really trying my best. I'm not touching my phone, even though normally I hold it when I talk. So we're gonna try to get through this. It builds character, okay? So now let's talk about the playoff update. Some teams have already been eliminated, which is just crazy to me because playoffs kind of just started. I mean, it's been 2-3 weeks, but teams are already being eliminated. There still are a good amount of teams that are still competing for a spot in the next round. So let's cover my notes. And the first team that we have written down is that the Panthers advanced to the next round with a 4-1 series win. Congratulations, Panthers. The Boston Bruins and the Maple Leafs, we are still going at it right now. It is high tension. I'm stressed. We don't know what's happening. Let's hope the Bruins make it through, but honestly, I have no hate for the Maple Leafs. I just hate the fans that, this is with any sport, the fans that generalize other fans. And I know I do that for the Rangers, but I only do that for the Rangers. And I'm very self-aware. I'm aware that it's not all the fans. It's just that, every fan, you have to remember, we're taking a little tea. I also have, admin powers on our socials. So I may not be the one running them, but I can see all the comments and all the DMs and stuff. I mean, I don't check the messages, but I check comments. And so many Rangers fans will be like, why won't you do Rangers? Do you hate the Rangers? Rangers must just stuff like that. And every other team, people are like, oh, could you please do the Florida Panthers? Could you please do the Dallas Stars? Or this is amazing. Can you do the Maple Leafs next? No one, oh my God, it's just, that was my rant. I'm sorry. Let's continue. Speaking of the Rangers advanced with a 4-0 series win. We got the Carolina Hurricanes. They won against the Islanders, which I'm sorry, Islanders fans. I think the Islanders are cool, but it was kind of expected. I feel like we just kind of knew. Then we have the Dallas Stars and the Golden Knights still going at it. The Colorado Avalanche actually just won the other night against the Winnipeg Jets. And then we have the Canucks and the Nashville Predators. They are also still battling it out. And then this just happened, but the Edmonton Oilers eliminated the LA Kings, which is pretty sad because I have people connected to the Kings. It's sad, and I'm sorry for that loss. I was really hoping they would go far, but at the same time, it's the Oilers, and I feel like you have Connor McDavid, you kind of have a bigger chance at winning. Let's just say that. But that is our playoff update, just so you can get a gist of what's going on around the league, because I know it's hard to stay caught up. I'm always like refreshing the articles, and then you have to read an entire article where it's like they don't just outright say like this team made it and this team didn't. It's confusing. So I am just trying to deconfusify that for you, if that makes any sense. Oh, also, this is really off topic, but I checked our analytics for the first time. Shout out women. Shout out women. We have, I believe it was like 70% women listening from the ages of 23 to 28. So hello. The rest were all men. Hello, gentlemen. I'm surprised men actually listen. But the ages are around 23 to 28. Those are the most common ages listening to the podcast. And our top 3 locations are, or 4, I guess, the USA, Canada, England, and Australia, which is crazy because those are my favorite countries. I'm sorry, but those are, that's like so cool. I mean, maybe not England, but like Australia, I've always wanted to go. And my big thing is like, it would be so cool if I could make it in Australia. Like, if I could bring the NHL to Australia even more, that would be a life goal. But anyway, I'm going to shut up. I'm rambling. We are going to get into our hockey hot topics, and we're actually going to be starting off with a PWHL hot topic, and I think that is so cool because we really get to experience this, like, for the first time. There has never been a PWHL team like this that has the draft and the playoffs and all of this, and this very well could and should be in history books one day. So it's really, really cool to me that we get to experience it and talk about it as it's happening. So the PWHL actually announced recently that they are going to have playoffs, which we kind of all assumed, but it's very cool that it's happening. And they announced that the first 4 games of the 2024 playoffs will be played daily from May 8th to May 11th. That is next week, which is so crazy, and I'm very excited we get to talk about this now, so we have a week to prepare. There are going to be 2 games of each league semifinal, and they will be hosted by Toronto and Montreal. And those 2 teams actually became the first 2 teams to officially clinch playoff spots, and they both have home ice advantage throughout the opening round. So congratulations to Toronto and Montreal. I was hoping for Boston to be up there, but it's okay. This is still very cool to experience and to learn about. The 3rd and 4th spots are going to be determined over the next week, and there's 3 teams left that have a chance at making playoffs. We have Minnesota, Ottawa, and Boston, and if you're wondering where's New York, they were eliminated. So I don't know why I said it with like an exclamation point. I'm sorry. But once the final spots are confirmed, the first place team is going to have 24 hours to get their semifinal opponent. And that's between the 3rd and 4th place teams. Got it? Cool. So, like I mentioned, Toronto and Montreal both have home games. Toronto home games are going to be played at the Coca-Cola Coliseum. I highly recommend saying that 3 times fast. It is so fun. Coca-Cola Coliseum. And that has a capacity of over 8,000 people, which is pretty good. And then Montreal will be playing at Bell Place, or Place Bell. Sorry, Place Bell. Ew, I don't like that. I like Bell Place more than Place Bell. Anyway, they've played 4 games this season at Place Bell, and they actually sold out 2 crowds of 10,172 people. That is incredible. The top 4 teams in the PWHL regular season standings qualify for the playoffs. Like I mentioned, that's why New York is not there. And then those will consist of best of 5 semifinals and then a best of 5 final for the Walter Cup. If you don't know what the Walter Cup is the PWHL's version of the Stanley Cup. And we actually did write a little article about this on our Instagram. It is a little bit far back, but super interesting. I think it's in our PWHL highlights as well if you want to go check that out. But long story short, next week are the PWHL playoffs. So we have NHL and PWHL playoffs going on at the same exact time, which is so exciting. And by next week, all the spots will be taken care of and filled up. Let's have our fingers crossed that Boston makes it. I have high hopes for them. The next topic we're going to talk about is actually really funny to me, and it's why I titled this podcast Luke Hughes is a Nepo baby, or whatever I titled it, okay? I think it's very funny. This has been going around the internet, and personally, I saw it on Twitter But a lot of people are actually saying that Luke Hughes is a Nepo baby and a Nepo sibling. And don't worry, I'm going to fill you in. But before I do, I want to say I personally am very 50-50 on this. I think he's a really good player, but I do think he's had more opportunities and chances because of his parents and because of his brothers. So now we're going to get into it. Rumors have been going around that Luke Hughes only got nominated for the Calder Trophy because he is a Hughes family member. If you didn't know, the Calder Trophy goes to the player who is seen as like the most proficient in their first year in the NHL. So it's a rookie award. And if you did not know, Luke is on the New Jersey Devils with his brother Jack Hughes, who is actually one of the alternate captains. And then Jack and Luke have an older brother named Quinn, and he is the captain of the Vancouver Canucks. So we have a captain, an alternate captain, and then a rookie, which is incredible. All three kids in the same family are in the NHL. It's crazy. And it makes sense once you actually get to know their family and their parents, because their dad, Jim, he was a well-known coach and scout, and actually he used to play, and he worked with a bunch of Toronto teams, the Maple Leafs. I think he even worked with the Bruins at one point, but I could be completely mixing up people. But their mom is the real star in my eyes. I am so fascinated by her. She's incredible. She was a hockey player. She competed internationally for, I think it was the U.S. women's national team. Yes. She actually competed, sorry, but listen to this, three sports while she was in college. She played hockey, soccer, and lacrosse at UNH, which is the University of New Hampshire, which is absolutely insane. I can't imagine, like, one sport. I mean, I did one sport in college, but, like, imagine having a sport and college and, like, your extracurriculars. She really is a superwoman, like, in my eyes. But after her playing career, she ended up coaching, and she even did some sideline reporting. And then she ended up being a mom of 3 boys, and now all 3 of them are in the NHL, which honestly, this might be my Roman Empire because that is so wild. She should be so incredibly proud. But like I said, Luke is very talented, but he's probably had more opportunities because of his family. And that just happens. I'm not saying it's always right, but it just happens. I feel like there are so many connections in the NHL. The number of connections, it's just too high for people to be calling Luke a Nepo baby. There are so many players whose parents played or coached, whose siblings played or coached, and I just think this is on a bigger scale, and I think people are just kind of taking out negativity because the Devils had such a shitty season, and a lot of people don't like the Hughes family because they are so well known in the hockey world. They are all so dynamic, and they are all powerhouses. They're confident, and they're kind of like the Kardashians. Everybody just knows them. That's just my 2 cents. Honestly, Luke has not won the award at all yet. I mean, I love him, but I think Connor Bedard will get it. I don't know who will get it. Actually, I'm going to shut up, but I think people are getting angry for no reason because there are definitely Nepo babies in everywhere, but I think just pointing out Luke and not pointing out all the rest of them is kind of like fucked up. I feel like nowadays when we're like, oh, it's a Nepo baby, and we're talking about like Hailey Bieber or the Kardashians or something, we have all these different examples of that. Anyway, that's our Luke Hughes topic. I don't know what you guys think. I feel like I've seen everybody either really divided. Everyone is either like, Luke Hughes is not a Nepo baby, don't talk about my boy like that, or they're like, Luke Hughes is a Nepo baby who doesn't know how to skate. So let me know your opinions. The next topic we're going to talk about is kind of a little strange, and it's how the Lightning coach, the coach of the Lightning, his name is John Cooper. He made a pretty weird analogy during a press conference the other day, and it has been going around the internet, making headlines, and I feel like just hearing part of the quote, you're going to be shocked by it, but this is actually kind of a happy ending. I think he really did take accountability, so that's just your preface before I start the story. Before I start, I just want to let you guys know I am sick, so I'm sorry if my voice sounds funny throughout this. I feel like it's just getting worse the more I talk, which isn't good because I have to record a podcast episode. But John Cooper, his team, the Lightning, they were just eliminated from playoffs. So I completely get it. I'd be angry and upset too. But he kind of started venting because his goalies let in goals during the game, which you can be upset about. But here's what he said, and I'm going to quote it exactly. Start quote. Quote, net front battles aren't allowed anymore. That's part of everybody's game. Is like the boxing out that goes there. It's like prison rules in playoffs, but it's not prison rules for the goalie. The second something happens, we might as well put skirts on them if that's how it's going to be. I mean, they have to battle through stuff too. It's a war down there, and I think we're letting the goalies off the hook. They've got way more pads on than everybody else does. End quote. Personally, I see what he was trying to say, but I think the way that he worded it just felt absolutely flat and rubbed everyone the wrong way. It was really sexist, and it just kind of disregards women's hockey and women. Like, it reminds me of, you throw like a girl, you punch or run like a girl. Okay, I am a girl, you know? And I am bringing this up because he did apologize. And I think it's really important to highlight growth and to actually give people credit. I don't think it's cool to like cancel someone and not give them a chance, because people do make mistakes. People go through things. People say things they don't mean. I don't mean that you should never cancel anybody. Like, I'm sure people out there have done bad things, but I think it's really important to give them a chance to change and fix their behavior. And like I said, he apologized, and he said, quote, I made an inappropriate analogy about goalies and skirts. You know, it's one of those moments, if you could just reach back and grab the words back, I would have, end quote. He said that the backlash actually hurt him more than being eliminated from playoffs. And he also shared that he had to explain like what he said to his daughters, which hurt him. And honestly, it really shows that he's taking accountability. So good for him, because a lot of people, especially in the sports world, would brush it off and say it's a joke, or it's locker room talk, or it's whatever. This is just what happens in the sports world. So I really, really appreciate the accountability he had. He made a mistake, like in the heat of the moment. He took a bit, thought over his actions, apologized, fixed his mistakes, and continued on, which I feel like so many people could learn from. And I mean, the comment wasn't good, but the way he handled it, 10 out of 10. All right, we have officially made it to our educational portion, and today is actually a very fun one because it's just going to be me telling you guys random facts and stories about the NHL and just hockey in general, because I feel like we need a really laid back day today, and this way you're going to learn, but we're also going to be having fun and talking, so that's always good. Starting off with emergency goalies, this just sends me for some reason, but it's the fact that in emergencies, someone not on an NHL team can actually step into play. It's rare, but when a team has no goalies available, they can call in a backup goalie from like this list of emergency goalies in the area. And normally, the emergency goalie will just get like the chance to get dressed up and sit on the bench. But there have been a few times where emergency goalies actually got the chance to play in an NHL game. And there's this story about, I think he was either a Zamboni driver or a janitor or somebody who helped in the arena. But he actually helped the team win by being their emergency goalie, which is such a wild quest. If somebody I met said that to me, like, yeah, I'm not on an NHL team, but I did play for the Bruins for one day, I'd be like, what are you talking? What? I think that's such a cool side quest. I think that also needs to be added to my list. Maybe they'll add it to the PWHL. I don't know. The next fact we're going to talk about is all about pucks. And it's kind of simple, and we have talked about this before, but it's the fact that pucks were originally made of cow poop. But that's not the full fact, don't worry. They then became rubber, and that rubber is actually kept frozen before games, because if they don't freeze it, the puck the pucks, sorry. They become flimsy and bouncy, and, it's hard for the players to control them. So they will normally freeze the pucks to prevent them from bouncing so that they can be easily controlled. And I'm going to give you a second to guess, on average, how many pucks are used in an NHL game. Giving you a second to guess. I don't know why, but I kind of always thought it was one, which kind of makes a lot more sense as to why game day pucks are not as expensive. But, I genuinely, for the longest time, thought it was one. But on average, it's 12. 12 pucks are used in NHL games because they thaw so fast, which is just crazy. I don't know. But yeah, get me a game day puck if you're listening to this. I'm just kidding. The next fact is about the Mighty Ducks. And if you are a Ducks fan, you probably know this, but if you don't, you're going to be excited if you're a Disney person. But they actually got their name from a Disney movie, and we have covered this on a now deleted episode, but I really do love this story, so we're going to talk about it again. So there was this Disney movie about hockey called The Mighty Ducks, and it was loved by literally everyone, and it was so popular that the Anaheim Ducks were founded as a hockey club by the Walt Disney Company, I should say, in 1993. And the team was originally known as the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, but Disney sold the team in 2005, and the team name was shortened to the Anaheim Ducks. And then over the years, the uniforms have changed from being really similar to what they wore in the Mighty Ducks to being more like orange and black. I think they're doing it to show that the Ducks are the Orange County's official hockey team. But it is sad because it's losing their origin story, but things change. That's okay. Despite some changes, they do still play at the Honda Center where they have always played, and it's actually really close to Disneyland, so maybe I should go to Disneyland and catch a game. Our next fact is all about the youngest captain in the NHL, and I'll give you a second to think about who it could be while I'm chatting, but it really boggles me because do you hear how many voice cracks I have? I am so sick. I'm so sorry, but how old do you think he is, the youngest NHL captain? And who is he? I'll give you a second. All right, his name is Sidney Crosby. We all know him. We all love him. He became a captain at the age of 19, which is just wild to me because I know 19-year-olds that use 8-in-1 washes and don't know how to wash dishes. So that is crazy to me. I mean, we all know him. We all love him. He's amazing. He's an amazing player. He seems to be an incredible person, and he seems like a great guy all around. So I think he's just a very big outlier. I don't think a regular 19-year-old should be the captain of a team, but he's pretty incredible. And I know also Nico Hischier was extremely young when he became a captain too. But once again, I think Nico also stands out, and he's very mature and a little bit different. I don't know. Our last fact of the day is about the shortest NHL game ever. It was in 1931 when the Canadiens faced off against the Bruins. It literally lasted 52 minutes because both teams were just given so many penalties that it led to forfeitures, and then the game had to end early. I just think that's crazy. I know it was different. It was 1931, but imagine getting your ticket and getting all excited to go to watch a hockey game, and it's less than an hour long. Oh my God. And it definitely is different nowadays. I don't think that could possibly happen, which is probably good because tickets cost an arm and a leg nowadays. It's actually ridiculous, but yeah, that is the shortest NHL game ever, 52 minutes. That's pretty good trivia to have in your back pocket. But thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast, for following us on our socials. Please do go follow us, by the way. All our links are in our bio on Instagram, which is at Penalty Box Podcast. We have Twitter, we have TikTok, we have obviously Instagram, YouTube, Spotify. We got it all. We are everywhere. We have Pinterest. Find us, be our friend. We try to bring hockey to you and make it more accessible, more fun for not just women. I want to mention that. Our brand is not for just women. Just because we use pink does not mean it's just for women. It's for everybody. This is a place for everybody to learn and love hockey. But yeah, Thank you again for all the constant support and love. If you're listening to this, I feel like it's very rare that people actually get to the end, but I love you. I'm thankful for you. You're incredible, and I will see you guys in the next episode. I'll meet you guys in the penalty box next week, and hopefully I'll have a fixed mic or a sugar daddy that can get me one. Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning into the Penalty Box Podcast. Don't forget to connect with us on social media by searching for the Penalty Box. Also, make sure you hit that follow button on Spotify. And if you enjoyed the show, leave us a 5-star review. Until next time, see you in the Penalty Box.